And this is when he told me about how his wife was cheating on him and he wanted to cheat on her to get revenge. With a 15, are you sure this is the way you want to go?
You did not have to do that. You knew you did not have to do that. How could you have done that?
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. Today we're getting into some more Neckbeard stories, probably one-offs, just top posts of all time. I like to do it every so often. The stories might be, I don't know, old, but they're timeless in their own way, so let's hop into it and see how it goes. Married neckbeard kept hitting on me. I was 15. Oh, that is sufficiently despicable even just in the title alone.
This kind of behavior is never tolerating. They put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing.
I can't resist. Sounds like somebody will love to hate. When I was 14 to 15, I started dating a guy who liked Magic the Gathering and introduced me to it. I actually really enjoyed the game and got to know a few of his friends. About a year later, we broke up, and to give him space, I stopped playing MTG at the local store. My family usually goes to our cabin in another country, like 6+ times a year, so I thought I'd bring my MTG cards with me there and just play whenever I was on holiday. I quickly found a store in the closest town where I could play, and I went. As I walked in, I'm immediately met by, oh my god, a girl stares. I mean, you walked into the den. I think girls in a game shop are some of my favorite stories. Like, obviously, I feel terrible for the woman most of the time. But yeah, it's just an exhibition of all the nerdy weirdness that goes on there. So this one guy was really nice and collected goblin cards. Is he the married guy? He collects goblin cards because he's into short stacks? There's some subtext there. I'm not going to get into it. OP says everyone else was a lot older than me. I ignored it and tried to play a game with someone. I can't exactly change the demographic of the game, so okay, whatever. This guy, like 30 to 40, walks over to me and does the whole introduce noob to hobby thing. However, I wasn't a noob, and he was just being condescending. He was a bit chubby, ginger, and had a puby, beard, for lack of a better word. I try not to judge on appearances, and we were all here to play MTG, so I played a couple rounds with him, and it was fun. I went back next week and played a few more rounds with the same guy. This is when he started talking about his wife and kids, and later he added me on Facebook. We don't need the Facebook ad, that's fine. I don't have anything to say to you outside of the game that we're playing right now. At this point, the guy starts messaging me weekly, asking when I was coming back and so on. Ugh, fucking annoying. This is why you don't accept the friend request. If I'm not there, just suck it up, you know? I go when I want to go, and I don't owe you an explanation. But OP says that I explained that I didn't live there and wouldn't be back for at least a couple of months. He says, okay, but continues to invite me to the store's events on Facebook and, of course, continues messaging me. This creeped me out, and I wasn't planning on going back. At some point, I mentioned that I was gonna stop playing for a while to him, and this is when he told me about how his wife was cheating on him and he wanted to cheat on her to get revenge. With a 15, are you sure this is the way you want to go?
You did not have to do that. You knew you did not have to do that. How could you have done that?
Holy, I'm glad he held it together, like, in person. He didn't turn completely creepy until they got on Messenger. But I do see this happen a lot with, like, neckbeards and nice guys, some incels, you know. It's dickless behavior. Say what you mean and say it to my face, would ya? OP says that the guy said that he was a good guy and didn't deserve to be cheated on. He was also worried about the custody of his daughter in case they got divorced. I told him I was 15. He just said, okay, and continued to press the issue. You're not a good guy. He said it's so rare for a girl to like MTG, and I'm so cool for liking it, and he wishes his wife did until, you know, he reverted to the previous stuff that he was talking about. I think there's deeper issues going on in this marriage than just your wife not liking MTG. And I don't think a 15-year-old girl's gonna fix any of that. I mean, maybe it'll fix it if the guy goes to jail. But even then, no, you're pulling somebody else into your mud pile. It's horrible. OP says, I unfriended him on Facebook and stopped playing MTG as this wasn't my first encounter with MTG Neckbeards, which really sucks because I want to be able to enjoy my hobbies without being hit on or surrounded by creepy men or women for that matter. Oh, you met a game shop Legbeard, did ya? Was her name La Ogra? Overall, yeah, I think MTG's fun, but it's not worth the heartache. You can play on your phone these days. There's no reason to spend hundreds of dollars on cards and subject yourself to big stinky boys who feel entitled to other people. Like, instead of working on your marriage with your wife, you're gonna run to this 15-year-old, dump all your problems on a literal child. Like, I don't fucking get it. How do you go through life this way? I'm a bit interested to see if this OP has more posts, so I'll dig in a little bit. And oh, look what I found. Join me in the next one. Bob the Neckbeard follows me for a few weeks and, well, exhibits some other weird behaviors. 12th paragraph. I don't know what 12th paragraph means. I do know we've covered a Bob the Neckbeard before, but this one's not that one as far as I can tell. We could probably come up with a better name for him. Let's read the story, see how it goes. TLDR's in the front, tried to be nice to this neckbeard at my school, and he started following me everywhere. Oh, so it's just like some kid shit, isn't it? I guess that's okay sometimes. But just expect socially inept behavior ahead. For context, last year I went to a folk high school. A folk high school is a Scandinavian, correct me if other countries have them, but it's a form of school that you can take after high school. Like a trade school or college? It's one of those or something different. You don't usually get any qualification, but usually people go to figure themselves out, and the students are of different ages. At my school, they were between like 18 to 40. People can learn a skill like playing an instrument, learning a language, cooking, etc., and build up their social skills. I attended a folk high school in Denmark where you could learn about martial arts and Japanese culture, so yeah, primo breeding ground for weebs and neckbeards. Why would you do this to yourself? We learned nothing about the MTG guy. Okay. I guess you shouldn't limit your experience and the things that you want to do just because something bad might happen. So OP took the plunge. Good for you! Today I'll be telling you about one of those neckbeardy students. Names are changed for obvious reasons. Also, if this doesn't belong here, let me know. Please note, he did have a lot of mental disorders to the extent that the school didn't have capacity to have him back for a second semester. This is also super long. Well, given all of that, I think we're in for quite a ride, but let's get it started, huh? OP says start here if you don't want context. I think context is important. Otherwise, I'm just going to be confused about the school setup the whole time. Anyway, there were only about 50-ish students this semester, so everyone got to know each other pretty quickly. I've never been a popular person by any means, but here I near struggled to sit with people or even find someone to hang out with. A few days in, I noticed this guy, who we will call Bob. And Bob always sat alone, about 3 empty tables behind everyone else. He had very badly cut shoulder-length hair, weird stubble, and wore his glasses at the edge of his nose, which looked comical, as he would purse his lips most of the time. Yeah, that's his thoughtful face. If I sit over here and look mysterious and brooding, surely somebody will come over and talk to me. And OP fell right into that trap, no? OP says, I've been bullied and alone a lot, so I get that it sucks. So I thought I'd try to include this guy. At a meal, I walk over to him and ask to sit down. One of the staff members looks over to me and nods approvingly. He nods and moves his headset so it's only covering one ear, while his other, he always wore 2, headset was around his neck. That's weird already. Why are you wearing 2 headsets? I gotta get my double dose of binaural beats. Once we talked a bit, I noticed his hands were really red up to his wrist, which I assume means he washes his hands too much, and also that he smelled. He also never touched his food, but would use napkins to wrap his food and then hold the napkin to eat it. I assume he had OCD or was a germaphobe. When I asked him about the redness, he didn't reply. You're gonna trust napkins that have been sitting on a table over like your own hands that you know where they've been? No, I can't do it, man. I'm good. I prefer my disgusting human figures over anonymous napkins. Thank you.
Okay, now. Dig in.
Anyway, we talked a bit. I got to know his name, got to know that he liked Japanese, and that he was also a fellow autist. Once I mentioned that I was also autistic, he seemed skeptical and said, "Hey, you don't look autistic. What kind of autistic are you?" He's one of those dudes that just believes women can't have autism ever. Kinda ignoring it and not knowing what to reply, I tried to change the subject, but I was cut off by a million compliments and questions about my hair. Around this time, I was done eating, and I told him that I had some other things to do. I continued being pleasant with him, saying hi, and inviting him to the group activities that I was going to, and this led to him being extremely clingy. Yeah, dude, you're the only person that's talked to him. You're his only friend at the school. You chose this, and then somehow you're surprised by it? I don't know. You're strong enough to open the door, you're not strong enough to close it? Come on now. When I pass by people I know, I usually say hi. Well, good for you. I don't say hi to anybody ever. When I did the same to him, he took this as an invitation to follow me around. Once, I was going to the lockers to change and go swimming. I passed by him and said, hi, and he immediately followed me and bombarded me with questions, and I politely answered. He followed me all the way to the girls' locker room, where I had to stop and tell him, this is the girls' locker room. You can't go in here. He gave me a blank look before disappearing. What an odd fellow. At least he did respect it, you know? You let him know where the line is. He's like, okay. I don't think Bob's all that bad. Little weird, sure, but he's looking for a human connection just like the rest of us. Leave him alone. If he followed you around and you're annoyed by that, then tell him off. Like I said, you opened this door. As we were still in the first week, we had a bunch of group activities to do to learn about all the different subjects. Bob, whenever he was in the same group as me, would try to pick me as his partner all the time. Yeah, because you're the only Why do I have to keep explaining this to you? In the health and fitness intro class, I was late, and so was Bob. So, yay! Lucky me! The intro class included a lot of body weight partner exercises. This meant that I had to touch Bob, who smelled. Oh well, I ignored it and did the exercises to the best of my ability. At some point during a mobility exercise, we had to hold hands. His hands were extremely sweaty, and he apologized for this. Gross. It was really a thrill for him, though, I'm sure. He lays awake at night and thinks about that time he got to hold hands in PE class. Also, if your hands are sweaty, don't apologize about it, okay? If you speak it into existence, you're making it worse, not better. Like, you know my hands are sweaty. I know my hands are sweaty. But I'm not going to be the first one to bring it up. OP says, I acknowledge that people can't help being sweaty or having sweaty hands. So I told him, don't worry, you can't help it. And this led him to follow me around even more. Yeah, can I please sweating your hands more, OP, please? At this school, we were divided into 6 groups. Each group had a morning meeting once a week, did a few activities together, and had chores together. Each month, the chores would rotate, with the exception of dishes, which changed every 2 days. Bob was not in my group. Thank goodness. My group had kitchen duty, dishes, and cleaning of the dining hall. His group was cleaning one of the bathrooms. I was cleaning, and he walks over and asks if I needed help. I told him, yeah, that was kind, but he should go find his group and ask to help them. He tells me he doesn't like his group, and he doesn't want to do chores. Okay, I'm taking less sympathy on him now. Now we're peeling back the layers, seeing what he's really like. OP says, me just wanting to be alone and listen to my music while I clean told him that I was fine, but he should go talk to his group teacher if he had a problem with his group. He kept showing up for my chores and always asked to help. He kept being really weird and just like a little leech. Well, the plague doctor would love that. Leeches! Don't knock it till you try it. No, but really, I think you need to lay it down just a little bit flatter. Not go find your group, but instead, I don't want you here. You are neither needed nor wanted, please leave me alone. And I bet he would. Might lead him to self-destruct. But that's an internal problem. We weren't gonna fix that anyways.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
Examples! He continued to follow me around when he saw me. Yeah, we addressed that. He would always mention my hair, compliment my hair, ask about my hair, but to like a weird extent. Yeah, he just doesn't know what else to talk about. He doesn't want to comment on anything like inherently sexual, so he's just like, your hair's really nice. Tell me more about it. Whenever he joined Werewolf, a game that my friends and I played a lot, he would always sit next to me and always use his ability on me. And Werewolf is like Mafia, I presume. So yeah, he's the doctor, and he's like, I'm gonna protect you every night, milady. We'll make sure they don't get you. It's like, well, you should probably protect the police. And he's like, no! It's you or nothing. A little strange, but still like sort of a nothing burger. This entire story is like, oh, he followed me around and it was weird. Well, he followed you around because you invited him to do so. Vampires can't come in unless they're invited, you see? Now you're surprised by the consequences of your own actions. You could have just ignored him like everybody else. But you had to feel bad for him. I think that's what beards feast on the most, is other people's sympathy. Emotional vampires for real. Anyway, last point, he rarely joined group activities, but when he did, I was there, and he would try to talk to me instead of joining. Yes, this one person that supposedly is my friend. We get a lot of stories like this, and it always tweaks my nip, you know? Stop pretending to be people's friend. You talk to him, that's nice. You don't want him anymore, let him know. Close the door. OP says this was only for a week or two. I sat with him once a meal every 2 or 3 days, as I felt bad that he was alone all the time, but at the same time, I wasn't really a huge fan. I mean, yeah. Why are you playing yourself in this way? Just because of sympathy? It's ridiculous. I don't understand how you could go through life like this. OP says he would always speak of himself as superior and smarter. He tried multiple times correcting the Japanese teacher in Japanese class, although he had no clue what he was on about. This would result in him sitting in a corner, muttering to himself, Nani Baka! The next week, his group had kitchen duty, but he never showed up, so his group teacher asked anyone to fill in. No one volunteered, so I did. God damn it.
Hey, you wanted this, right? You wanted the real deal? That's what this is. Wake up, you're in the middle of it.
Why are you doing this, OP? You're punching yourself in the face and you're like, don't you feel bad for me? It's like, no, you keep making the same fucking choices. Stop it! OP says, I knew he hated loud noises, like the dishwasher, hence the 2 sets of headphones. He continued to follow me after this, even when I told him to stop, so I ended up cutting all interaction with him. He still followed me around for a bit. I mean, don't just cut all interaction. Have an adult conversation. Be like, look, here's why we're not friends anymore. Please leave me alone. Then again, maybe he wouldn't listen. OP said he didn't listen. He's really desperate to rebuild that bridge. But yeah, it's over. You're a weirdo. So a few weeks go by, and all I saw of Bob was him walking around with his iPad and muttering to himself. He's watching Attack on Titan for sure. One evening, I was hanging around with a few people when one of my friends, Melissa, walks down the stairs and informs us that she thinks that someone is, doing it in the bathroom. The next day, a few more people walked downstairs and confirmed that they heard moaning. Oh, that's just the moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter, everybody. Don't worry about that. This poor guy had to go all the way downstairs to use the bathroom. You're using another bathroom just because someone's banging it out in the next stall? I think the only solution to the problem is to walk in there and take a massive broccoli cheese shit. And be like, see if you're still turned on now. Days go by without anyone knowing who was involved in the bathroom incident. That was until one fateful Japanese class. A classmate of mine, Fred, had to go pee. He left the class and came back 2 minutes later, looking a shade paler, and mentioned something about he's doing it again to the teacher. My curiosity was more than piqued. I didn't get the chance to know about what happened until we were hanging out as a group. Fred and I weren't close, so luckily someone else asked, and apparently Bob was found jerking it, nude on the bathroom floor in a toilet stall, and this wasn't the first time. Yeah, those issues really are cropping up by the handful, you know? I think I have told this story on the channel before, but I remember in 8th grade there was a kid named Jerk-Off Joe, and he would just stand in front of the urinal, and yeah, it was pretty clear what he was actually doing at the urinal. I guess the least I could say is at least he kept his clothes on. And I guess the least I could say for Bob is at least he went into a bathroom stall instead of, sprawling out in the middle of the floor. The tiles are so cold, it feels good on my skin. But still, yes, unacceptable behavior all. Can we get expelled? Can he be expelled over this? Especially if it's recurring multiple times. What the hell? What made this situation even weirder was that while most people had roommates, Bob did not, meaning that he could do whatever he wanted in his room. But no, he chose to jerk it nude in toilet stalls for the entire semester. It's part of the thrill, I guess. But yeah, then you're involving non-consenting people in your thrills, and I can't sign off on that. Anyway, OP says, I kind of upped my avoiding of him even more after finding that out, and I never asked him about it. Oh, why would you ever ask him about it? That would be the mistake of a lifetime. Good call there, at least. He didn't really get along with most people, and he was mostly alone. This was until the school went on a Japan trip. Bob in Japan is a whole different and weird thing in itself. I hope you enjoyed the post. Let me know if it should be marked not safe for work. Yeah, probably. Safe enough for YouTube. There's no penetrations. It's fine. The Bob in Japan thing seems really weird. But really, it's probably exactly the same story. He's just in a toilet stall with a robot toilet instead. And boy, he really enjoys when he gets a splash of warm water in his beehole. This has gone so off the rails. I don't see the Japan story in OP's post history, so I guess that about covers it. Episode even now is still looking a little bit short, but we can continue on into something new, something tangentially related, so join me over there, won't you? Talk to a Legbeard at a party, and she got clingy. Yeah, see, because you talk to... I don't know why you're talking to people, just out of sympathy. Please don't let it be out of sympathy again. I guess we'll see how it goes. I used to be an extremely awkward, fugly-ass kid, so growing up was rough. That's why I feel the need to approach people sitting alone in the corner, because sitting alone sucks. Dude, this is exactly the same story with the genders flip-flopped, you know? Usually it ends well, and I make a new friend, but sometimes it ends up pretty bad. And Joan was one of those bad cases. And again, you sort of did this to yourself. Sympathy's massively overrated. Best I could do for you some tough love. I noticed Joan at first when one girl came up to me at a party and snidely told a group of my friends and I, "You see that girl over there? She goes to every Asian event alone. She just sits there and stares like a creep. How sad is that?" Well, you're talking about it. Does that make you even more sad than her? Maybe. You just gotta start up the toxic gossip train. Is that what it is?
All aboard the toxic gossip train.
Get a fucking life, Bethany! Joan was a larger girl who seemed to ooze grease everywhere. Ugh. Her hair was plastered down in stringy, oily tendrils. Instead of a neck, she basically had another overstretched chin, which gave her an unfortunate bullfrog-like appearance. She was covered in acne and fuzz everywhere. Yeah, basically the perfect target for bullying. And yeah, at first you think all that ugliness is on the outside, but no, that's just the inside ugliness leaking out. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Joan's a wonderful person, but based on what I've seen, even ugly people can make friends if they got a proper personality. Anyway, another kind of bitchy girl agreed that it was sad, and the two of them were snickering together, Mean Girls style, even though we were already in fucking college. Yeah, not cool. I agree with you there, OP. There's no reason for all this. I'd tell those girls off, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go be friends with Joan either. So obviously, I went up and talked to Joan, since no one should get that kind of treatment. Talking to her was slightly difficult, and she did come off as, well, I'm not sure if it's because she didn't understand me or simply thought I was being an idiot, because she'd often reply to my questions with silence and a smile that came off as condescending. See? Think she's better than everybody. This is why nobody wants to interact with you, Joan. I'm out. Already. I'm out.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
OP says, as you can guess, the conversation, quote unquote, was filled with awkward silences as she left me hanging. I mean, how desperate are you to make this quote unquote friendship happen, OP? You leave me hanging once or twice, start smiling like an idiot. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. We're both wasting our time here. Anyway, OP says, I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. Of course you did. And assume that maybe she just wasn't comfortable with smiling. I mean, I went through a phase where I couldn't figure out how to smile properly and ended up with this constipated grimace in most photos. Is that a sign of autism, or is that just being uncomfortable in your own skin? Unsure. OP's also unsure, saying maybe I was misreading her as well. Her expressions were a bit hard to read since she unfortunately had one of those faces that seemed overinflated and thus swallowed up most of her features. Still, the conversation was awkward enough for me to end it after 5 minutes, and I introduced her to a friend in passing and excused myself to grab some more food. Yeah, pass that fucking buck right along, you know? Hey, buddy, you want to talk to this weird girl? 'Cause I don't. Bye! Dick move. You could have just walked away, but like, well, this conversation's stupid. I tried to be your friend. Clearly you're not interested, so goodbye! Anyway, after that day, Joan would stick to me whenever she could. Yeah, here we go again. You open the door. Learn to fucking close it! OP says, I was president of the Asian Student Association, so I was at every Asian-oriented event that Joan would attend. Since I'm typically running around helping to run the event or chatting with people, I ended up not really being able to talk with her. I'd introduce her to someone to make sure she wasn't alone, but a few minutes later, she would return to shadowing me and just staring. Yeah, the person that you left them with doesn't want to interact with her either. Can't you just tell her off? I guess maybe you're trying to play politics since you're the president of the Asian Student Association. But whatever. OP says I definitely felt extremely self-conscious and some of my friends got really worried about me. But again, I gave her the benefit of the doubt and thought that she was just shy. I used to volunteer at a daycare, and some of the shyer kids would always tail their favorite adult silently the entire time. Maybe she was just nervous, like them, and wanted a familiar person to follow around, even if that person didn't exactly have time to talk to them. Yeah, hell yeah, we'll just keep making excuses for her until she shows up with a knife. She's not in daycare, she's in college. It is time to have a rough conversation. Elucidate for her exactly how this relationship is supposed to be. But nobody does it. They all got the balls to open the door. Don't have the balls to close it. I don't understand. Anyway, this was the first event that clued me in that something was wrong. I bumped into her in one of the dorms and I said hi and asked her what she was doing there. She replied, "Stalking the Kevins." I laughed because I thought it was a joke, but I later found out that the stalking was for real. Yeah, one of the Kevins said hi to her one time. She explained to me that the Kevins were two guys named Kevin that happened to room together, and she found that funny. By now, I somehow was following her because I felt like it was weird to walk off in mid-conversation, especially since she was intensely staring into my eyes. Dude, the social contract done been violated, okay? Just an about face and walk away briskly. No jury in the land would convict you for that. I'm not sitting through a conversation I don't want to have because social contract. Fuck that. So we stopped at a door, and like many college students living in dorms, the Kevins had a whiteboard on their door where people could leave messages. Could you wait for me while I leave them a message? She asked me. Sure, why not? I told her my next class was next door anyway, and since it starts in 20 minutes, I could stay and chat with her. Bro, what the fuck? What are you doing? Yes, I want to spend a third of an hour in as uncomfortable a situation as possible. I'm still not following the lines of logic. Great. Stay with me, she told me. Yeah, it came off as creepy as it sounds. Again, gave her the benefit of the doubt. No idea why. Oh, good. You don't have any fucking answers either. It's just OP going through life, bumping into light bulbs. He doesn't know where he's going. There's no plan here. I just want to hang out with this fat girl and then complain about how she makes me uncomfortable. Are you stupid or something? At least OP in the last story, backed off immediately. It was like, I don't like this situation. I'm leaving. But this OP's like, yeah, I hate it. I want to spend another 20 minutes here.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
You're an insane person. So Joan spent a good 10 minutes drawing in silence while I waited awkwardly. I hate awkward silences, so I started awkwardly trying to make some small talk, and I got silence. Okay, feeling pretty damn awkward. The only reply I got was when I suggested leaving, and she insisted that I stay. Well, guess what? I don't need your fucking permission to leave. While she's busy on the whiteboard, I just slip away. She's like, you didn't say goodbye. And I'm like, yeah, I don't owe you a goodbye. I'm here to do the things that I want to do, not to placate your ego. The quicker you learn that, the more copacetic we could be. Whatever. OP says, I remember she drew hearts, a crying anime girl, and a chicken drumstick. One of the Kevins told me later that she told them that she could smoke a chicken drumstick? ? He had no idea what the hell that meant too. And that they should meet up at the beach at night so she could show them how. They obviously said no because they were damn scared of her. She's gonna make you that NyQuil chicken in hopes that you pass out and she gets to have her way. That's all speculation, okay? So far, she's just shown herself to be an awkward girl who's in need of human connection, and people are willing to give that to her, but only just, you know? I want to say that we're friends and that we interacted so I can look like the good guy, but also I'm complaining about it on Reddit. The duality of man, I suppose. Well, she finally finished, and we ended up sitting on a bench outside the building where my next class was. This time, she talked a lot. But it was in bursts of short stories that were in no way connected with each other. If I asked her any question about what she said, she'd pause, and then continue the story without answering me, as if she was reading a script. That is sort of weird. Maybe there's some kind of neurodivergence going on there, but yeah, it doesn't sound like somebody that I could interact with. It would drive me nuts. Here's how it went. Joan would say, my mom has this best friend, and both of them had kids at the same time. And she had a boy, and my mom had me, and they used to say that we were fated, and we should get married in the future. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe just a thing that parents joke about. At least I hope it's a joke. OP says, oh, that's cute. So did you guys end up close? Joan continues, they promised they'll matchmake us in the future because we're meant to get married. OP, so do you want to marry him? Joan, we used to play as kids, but he was always mean to me. I mean, she's sort of answering the questions just like in a tangential way. OP says, oh no, how was he mean to you? And Joe said, then my mom's best friend, you know, the mother of that boy, she moved away. And my mom kept crying when she moved because they were like sisters. OP, I'm sure that was rough for your mom, especially before everyone had the internet. Joan. Now they're both on Facebook, and I heard he's asking for me. Even this astrologist said we're fated, so who knows? And then she'd give a condescending smile. Why are we even sitting here, bearing through this? There's no reason for it. You'd be just as happy if I put a cardboard cutout of myself on this bench, wouldn't you? She just wants someone to talk at. Anyway, the stories were all self-aggrandizing and the conversation was getting painful, so I decided to leave as it was 5 minutes until the start of my class. I figured that was an acceptable time to leave, but she said, "No, stay." And then Joan grabbed my arm. Okay, maybe she was just joking. Bro, how you still think this is a joke at this point, dude? You're letting somebody else dictate your live your life for you. If you want to leave, just leave. She grabs your arm, rip it away from her and say, "Don't touch me, you freak." You can do whatever you want. It's choose your own adventure. And this is the adventure that you've chosen? What? But don't worry, guys, it's just a joke. I find both of these characters insufferable. OP says, "I did squirm out of her grip. Hey, good for you. I laughed playfully and went, ow, okay. It was great talking to you, but I really don't want to be late for class, so see ya." That's when she grabbed my tote bag and pulled. I'm sure she didn't mean to, but she was 2 to 3 times my size, depending on who you ask, so I ended up falling down. Yeah, that's a big girl. She got some of that idiot strength in her, I'm sure. Luckily by now, there were kids walking to class already, and one guy rushed over to check if I was okay. He was ready to call campus police, because it did look like Joan was attacking me, but I assured him that it was just an accident, and went off to my class. I don't think Joan ever apologized at all. I caught a glimpse of her when I entered the building, and she was just staring after me. Well, that's pretty fucking ominous, dude. You gave her a free pass every single time. If she was a dude, we would not have given her the same pass, you know? I briefly looked for more posts from OP in her post history. Turns out she's a woman. I didn't expect that. But it doesn't change the story all that much, do it? You were still far too passive, and the fact that she got away with it is the most infuriating thing in the world. Nobody ever told her that it wasn't okay. She suffered no consequences, and so she's only going to get worse. Although, thankfully, OP seems to have given her a wide berth. She's somebody else's problem now. And I guess that's the biggest victory that we can hope for in something like this. Just a couple of tiny, fun stories about OPs who can open the door but not close it. So I think that's good. It's got a theme. We're going to wrap this one up. If you like the video, like, comment, sub. Check out my Patreon if you would. There's some free videos over there if you would like. But if you'd like to send me money every month, I mean, that's pretty crucial to the health and wealth of the channel. If you can't afford to do it, don't sweat it too hard. I just appreciate you watching the video, especially if you watched this far. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.